Hello, ladies and gentlemen. There's something fascinating about the human experience, something we all chase but rarely pause to understand. We all want to look younger, feel younger, and somehow cheat time. But what if I told you that looking younger than your age isn't just about genetics or skincare? What if it means something deeper? See, there's a reason why some people seem to defy aging. It's not just biology. It's psychology, it's mindset, it's the way we live. Stress is like a weight on our shoulders, an invisible force that pulls us down, both physically and mentally. The people who look younger than their age, they've learned something powerful, that stress will always exist, but how we respond to it is a choice. They practice gratitude, they shift their mindset, they don't let life happen to them, they take charge of how they respond. Have you ever noticed how children have a glow about them? It's not just youth, it's curiosity, playfulness, and a love for discovery. When you stay curious, when you keep learning, when you embrace change instead of fearing it, you carry that same energy with you no matter your age. Stress is often seen as an inevitable part of life. It comes with responsibilities, expectations, and the constant pressure to keep up. But what many people don't realize is that stress doesn't just affect the mind, it leaves its mark on the body too. The way we handle stress determines not only our mental well-being, but also our physical appearance, energy levels, and overall vitality. When people look younger than their actual age, it's not just good genetics at play. It's often a reflection of how well they manage stress. The human body reacts to stress by releasing cortisol, a hormone that, in high amounts over time, breaks down collagen, accelerates aging, and weakens the immune system. This is why people who carry chronic stress tend to have more wrinkles, dull skin, and a tired appearance. But those who age gracefully, those who appear younger than they actually are, have often mastered the art of stress management. One of the biggest differences between those who let stress take over and those who maintain a youthful presence is their mindset. Some people see challenges as roadblocks, while others see them as opportunities to grow. The latter group tends to navigate life with a sense of resilience and adaptability, knowing that hardships are temporary and solutions can always be found. This perspective reduces the physical toll of stress and allows them to maintain a more relaxed, composed, and energized presence. Another important factor is emotional regulation. Many people hold on to negative emotions, anger, resentment, anxiety, without realizing how much it impacts them physically. These emotions create tension in the body, contribute to poor sleep, and even lead to stress illnesses. People who look younger than their age often practice emotional release techniques, whether through meditation, deep breathing, journaling, or simply talking things out with a trusted friend. They understand that emotions need to be processed, not suppressed, and by doing so, they free themselves from the weight of unnecessary stress. Gratitude is another powerful tool in stress management. Science has proven that gratitude rewires the brain, reducing stress and increasing happiness. People who actively focus on what they are grateful for tend to be more positive, and this positivity reflects in their overall demeanor. They smile more, their faces are less tense, and their eyes remain bright and engaged. This small shift in focus from what's wrong to what's right can have a profound impact on both emotional and physical well-being. Movement is also a crucial aspect of stress relief. Physical activity, whether it's yoga, walking, dancing, or high-intensity workouts, helps release built-up tension and stimulates endorphins, the body's natural mood enhancers. People who move regularly tend to have better circulation, healthier skin, and a natural glow that makes them look more vibrant and youthful. Finally, there's the power of social connections. Stress often isolates people, making them feel like they have to carry their burdens alone. However, those who look younger than their age often have strong social bonds. They talk, they laugh, they share their struggles and joys with others. Human connection is one of the most effective stress relievers, and when people maintain meaningful relationships, it shows. They carry a lighter energy, one that reflects in their posture, their facial expressions, and their overall aura. Looking younger is not just about creams, serums, or medical treatments. It's about how we choose to live. Managing stress effectively allows us to preserve our energy, protect our health, and maintain a presence that radiates youthfulness. It's not about avoiding challenges. It's about facing them with the right mindset, the right habits, and the right support system. Those who understand this don't just look younger, they feel younger, and ultimately they live longer and more fulfilling lives. Curiosity is one of the most underrated secrets to staying young. When we think of youthfulness, we often focus on physical appearance, smooth skin, bright eyes, and an energetic presence. But true youthfulness goes much deeper than that. It is a state of mind, a way of engaging with the world that keeps us vibrant, excited, and full of life. People who look younger than their age often have one thing in common. They never stop learning, exploring, or embracing new experiences. Think about children. They are naturally curious, always asking questions, always eager to understand how things work. They see the world with wonder, and that sense of excitement gives them an unmistakable glow. As we grow older, many of us lose this curiosity. We fall into routine, stick to what we know, and close ourselves off to new experiences. The result? Life starts to feel predictable, and with predictability often comes stagnation, not just mentally, but physically too. People who remain open to learning and change, however, carry a different energy. Their minds stay active, their conversations remain engaging, and their enthusiasm for life shines through in their expressions. Science even supports this idea. Studies have shown that continuous learning keeps the brain healthy, preventing cognitive decline and even reducing the risk of diseases like Alzheimer's. When the brain remains sharp and active, the body follows. It's no coincidence that lifelong learners often look and feel younger than their peers. Beyond brain health, curiosity also affects our emotional well-being. When we remain interested in the world around us, we are less likely to become stuck in negative thought patterns. Curiosity allows us to approach challenges with a sense of possibility rather than defeat. Instead of seeing problems as roadblocks, we start to see them as puzzles to solve. This mindset reduces stress, which in turn slows down the aging process. Chronic stress and negativity are among the biggest contributors to premature aging, while curiosity and excitement keep us looking and feeling younger. Curious people also tend to be more adaptable. They are not afraid to try new things, meet new people, or step outside their comfort zones. This adaptability helps them navigate life's inevitable changes with more ease. Instead of resisting new technologies, ideas, or ways of thinking, they embrace them, keeping their minds fresh and engaged. This flexibility not only makes life more enjoyable, but also keeps the body and mind in a state of growth rather than decline. Another major benefit of curiosity is its impact on social interactions. People who are genuinely interested in others tend to be more charismatic and engaging. They ask thoughtful questions, listen actively, and bring fresh perspectives into conversations. This makes them more enjoyable to be around, strengthening their relationships and social networks. Strong social connections are another key factor in longevity and youthfulness, as they provide emotional support and a sense of belonging that is essential for overall well-being. Curiosity also influences lifestyle choices. Those who remain eager to explore new things often engage in hobbies, travel, and experiences that bring joy and excitement into their lives. Whether it's learning a new language, picking up a musical instrument, or exploring different cultures, these activities stimulate the brain and keep the spirit young. They bring a sense of adventure that is often missing in people who have settled into monotonous routines. At its core, staying curious means staying engaged with life. It means waking up each day with the belief that there is still so much to learn, experience, and discover. When people carry this mindset, they radiate a different kind of energy, one that is youthful, vibrant, and full of possibility. This energy is what makes them appear younger, not just in looks, but in presence. They don't just exist, they truly live. And that, more than anything else, is the secret to looking and feeling young, no matter what age you are. One of the biggest sources of stress and frustration in life is trying to control things we have no power over. We get upset when people don't act the way we expect, when situations don't go our way, or when plans fall apart. But here's the truth. We cannot control other people, their decisions, or the unexpected twists that life throws at us. What we can control is how we respond. And the key to reducing anger and frustration is learning to detach from the outcome. Detachment doesn't mean we stop caring. It doesn't mean we stop putting in effort or lose all expectations. It means we stop tying our happiness to a specific result that we cannot fully control. Too often, we think, if this happens, I'll be happy. If they do this, I'll feel respected. If things go as planned, I'll feel at peace. But by linking our emotions to external outcomes, we set ourselves up for disappointment because reality rarely unfolds exactly as we want it to. Imagine you're giving a big presentation at work. You've prepared for weeks, practiced every slide, and know your material inside out. But during the meeting, the technology fails, the audience seems distracted, and the response isn't as enthusiastic as you hoped. If your happiness depends on everything going perfectly, you'll feel frustrated and discouraged. But if you detach from the outcome and focus on what you can control, your preparation, delivery, and mindset, you'll walk away knowing you did your best regardless of the circumstances. Now think about relationships. Many conflicts arise because we expect people to behave a certain way. We expect our friends to always check in, our partners to always understand us, and our colleagues to always meet deadlines. But people are unpredictable and they won't always act according to our expectations. When we tie our emotional state to their actions, we set ourselves up for constant frustration. Instead, if we detach from needing others to behave a certain way in order for us to be at peace, we gain emotional freedom. We start accepting people for who they are rather than who we want them to be. This mindset shift is also crucial in personal growth. Many people set ambitious goals, whether in their careers, health, or personal development, and attach their happiness to achieving them. They think, once I get that promotion, then I'll be satisfied. Once I lose that weight, then I'll feel confident. But when we base our fulfillment on a future outcome, we delay our happiness. Detachment allows us to find joy in the process rather than just the result. Instead of focusing solely on the goal, we focus on the journey, on showing up, on learning, on growing. Detaching from outcomes doesn't mean we stop striving for success, building relationships, or working toward our goals. It means we release the need for things to happen exactly as we imagined in order to feel at peace. It means recognizing that while we can control our actions, effort, and mindset, we cannot control every external factor. And when we accept that, life becomes a lot less stressful. The next time you find yourself feeling frustrated because something didn't go the way you wanted, ask yourself, was I trying to control something that wasn't mine to control? If the answer is yes, take a step back, focus on what you can influence, and let go of the rest. When we detach from the outcome, we free ourselves from unnecessary stress and open the door to a more peaceful and resilient way of living. One of the biggest reasons we get frustrated, angry, or hurt by others is because we judge their actions too quickly. When someone speaks harshly to us, we assume they're being rude. When a friend cancels plans, we assume they don't care. When a coworker doesn't acknowledge our contribution, we assume they're selfish. But what if none of that was true? What if, instead of rushing to judgment, we chose to understand? The reality is, people's actions are rarely about us. They're about them, their thoughts, emotions, struggles, and experiences. But when we make snap judgments, we take things personally. We create a story in our minds about what someone's behavior must mean without actually knowing the full picture. And more often than not, our assumptions are wrong. Imagine you're driving and another car suddenly cuts you off. Your first reaction might be anger. That driver is reckless. They don't respect anyone. But what if that person is rushing to the hospital because a loved one is in trouble? What if they simply made a mistake and didn't see you? The truth is, you don't know. And by choosing to assume the worst, you're only harming yourself with unnecessary frustration. This same pattern plays out in our personal and professional lives. Maybe a friend doesn't text back as quickly as you'd like and you assume they're ignoring you. Maybe your boss gives you short feedback and you assume they're unhappy with your work. But what if your friend is just overwhelmed with responsibilities? What if your boss is dealing with stress from their own life? When we shift from judgment to understanding, we make space for empathy. We start seeing people as complex human beings instead of characters in a story where we are the main focus. This doesn't mean we excuse bad behavior, but it does mean we pause before reacting. Instead of thinking, how could they do this to me? We ask, what might be going on in their world? This shift is especially important in relationships. A single misinterpretation can lead to unnecessary conflict. If a loved one seems distant, instead of assuming they don't care, we can ask, are they going through something? If a colleague is short with us, instead of assuming they're being rude, we can consider maybe they're under pressure. Just this small shift in perspective can prevent so much unnecessary frustration. Great leaders, effective communicators, and emotionally intelligent people understand this well. They don't take things personally. They recognize that everyone is fighting battles they cannot see. Instead of reacting impulsively, they ask questions, seek clarity, and approach situations with curiosity instead of judgment. This approach doesn't just reduce anger, it strengthens our relationships. When people feel understood instead of judged, they feel safer around us. They trust us more, conflicts become easier to resolve, and interactions become less stressful. Of course, there will be times when people do act selfishly, rudely, or unfairly, but even in those cases, judgment won't serve us. Understanding why someone behaves a certain way doesn't mean we have to accept it, but it does mean we can respond from a place of wisdom rather than emotion. The next time someone's actions upset you, take a breath. Instead of jumping to conclusions, consider other possibilities. Ask yourself what else could be true. You may be surprised at how much lighter and more peaceful life becomes when you replace judgment with understanding. Every day we face situations where we feel frustrated, disrespected, or misunderstood. A rude comment, an unfair decision, a moment of rejection. These things trigger an instinctive emotional response, and in that moment we have a choice: react or respond. Reacting is immediate. It's emotional. It's what happens when we let our feelings take control without thinking. Someone insults us, and we snap back. Someone disappoints us, and we shut down. Someone makes a mistake, and we lash out. Reactions are driven by impulse, and more often than not, they make things worse. Responding, on the other hand, is intentional. It's thoughtful. It's the ability to pause, assess the situation, and choose the best course of action. Responding means recognizing that just because we feel something doesn't mean we have to act on it. It's the difference between being controlled by emotions and controlling our emotions. Think about a time when you reacted out of anger. Maybe you sent a heated text, raised your voice in frustration, or said something you later regretted. In the moment, it felt justified. But after some time passed, did it actually help? Did it bring you closer to a solution? Or did it just escalate the situation? Now imagine if you had taken a deep breath and chosen to respond instead. Maybe you would have asked a question instead of making an accusation. Maybe you would have walked away and gathered your thoughts before speaking. Maybe you would have realized that the issue wasn't as big as it seemed in the heat of the moment. One of the most powerful things we can do is develop the ability to pause before reacting. That tiny moment of awareness, the space between stimulus and response, is where our true power lies. When we pause, we give ourselves the opportunity to choose. Do we let emotions dictate our actions, or do we take control? This skill is especially important in leadership. Great leaders don't react impulsively to challenges, criticism, or setbacks. They don't let frustration dictate their decisions. Instead, they stay calm, process the situation, and choose their words and actions wisely. That's what makes them effective. They don't let emotions run the show. They use emotions as information and respond accordingly. This also applies to personal relationships. When we react emotionally in an argument, it often leads to more conflict. But when we take a step back and respond with understanding, it creates space for resolution. Instead of saying, "You never listen to me," we can say, "I feel unheard when this happens." Instead of blaming, we can seek to understand. That one shift changes everything. This isn't about suppressing emotions, it's about managing them. Emotions are natural, but they don't have to control us. The more we practice pausing and choosing how we respond, the more control we gain over our lives. The next time you feel anger rising, remember, you have a choice. Take a breath, step back, ask yourself, what's the best way to handle this? The ability to respond rather than react is one of the greatest strengths you can develop. And when you master it, you'll find that life becomes much more peaceful, relationships become stronger, and challenges become easier to navigate. Anger is a natural emotion. It flares up when we feel wronged, disrespected, or frustrated. In the moment, it feels justified, like a protective shield against the world. But what we often fail to realize is that anger doesn't hurt the person who upset us nearly as much as it hurts us. Holding on to anger is like carrying a burning coal, expecting the other person to feel the heat. The longer we hold it, the more damage it does, not to them, but to ourselves. Think about the last time you were truly angry. Maybe someone betrayed your trust, cut you off in traffic, or said something hurtful. Your heart raced, your muscles tensed, your mind kept replaying the event over and over. But did your anger change what happened? Did it solve anything? Or did it just make you feel worse? Anger is exhausting. It consumes mental energy, clouds judgment, and often leads us to say or do things we later regret. While it's a normal emotional response, when left unchecked, it becomes a burden, one that weighs us down far more than the original incident that caused it. Now imagine if you could let go of that burden. Imagine if instead of allowing anger to take over, you acknowledged it, processed it, and then released it. Not for the sake of the person who upset you, but for your own peace of mind. Because the truth is, carrying anger doesn't punish the other person, it punishes you. This doesn't mean we should ignore or suppress anger. Emotions serve a purpose. Anger tells us when something feels unfair, when our boundaries are crossed, or when we need to take action. The key is what we do with that anger. Do we let it fester and control us, or do we process it in a way that leads to resolution? One of the most powerful ways to release anger is through perspective. Ask yourself, will this matter in a week, a month, a year? Many of the things we get upset about lose significance over time. That rude comment from a stranger, that argument over something small, it won't matter in the grand scheme of things. So why waste energy on it? Another way to manage anger is through understanding. Often, people act in ways that upset us because they are dealing with their own struggles. That impatient driver, maybe they're rushing to an emergency. That friend who canceled plans, maybe they're overwhelmed. That colleague who snapped at you, maybe they're facing pressure you don't know about. When we step back and consider other possibilities, our anger begins to fade. Then there's forgiveness. Not for them, but for you. Forgiveness isn't about saying what happened was okay. It's about deciding that you won't let it take up space in your mind any longer. It's about freeing yourself. Holding on to resentment is like staying locked in a prison of your own making. The moment you decide to let go, you walk free. And finally, there's choice. You don't have to hold on to anger. You don't have to let it dictate your mood, your relationships, or your happiness. Every time you feel anger rise, you have a choice. Do I hold on to this, or do I let it go? The more you choose peace over anger, the lighter and freer you become. At the end of the day, anger is just an emotion. It doesn't have to define you. When you master the ability to acknowledge it, understand it, and release it, you reclaim your power. And that is how you truly find peace.